Book of Job. In the land of Hus there was a man called Job, an innocent and virtuous man, such one as feared God and eschewed evil. This man had 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance was 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500th yoke of oxen, 500th she-asses, and a very great household, so that he was one of the most principal men among all them of the east country. And his sons went and made banquets, one day in one house, another day in another, and sent for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. So when they had passed over the time of their banqueting round about, Job sent for them and cleansed them again, and gat up early, and offered for everyone a brent offering. For Job thought thus, Peradventure my sons have done some offence and have been unthankful to God in their hearts. And thus did Job every day. Now upon a time when the servants of God came and stood before the Lord, Sathan came also among them. And the Lord said unto Sathan, From whence comest thou? Sathan answered the Lord and said, Have gone about the land and walked thorough it. Then said the Lord unto Sathan, Hast thou not considered my servant Job, and how that he is an innocent and virtuous man, such one as feareth God and escheweth evil, and that there is none like him in the land? Sathan answered, and said unto the Lord, Doth Job fear God for naught? Hast thou not preserved him, his house, and all his substance on every side? Hast thou not blessed the work of his hands? Is not his possession increased in the land? But lay thine hand upon him a little, touch once all that he hath, and hold, he shall curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Sathan, Lo, all that he hath be in thy power. Only upon himself see that thou lay not thine hand. Then went Sathan forth from the Lord. Now upon a certain day, when his sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house, there came a messenger unto Job, and said, While the oxen were a-ploughing, and the asses going in the pasture beside them, the Sabes came in violently, and took them all. Other, his sons now went on every man. The other stowed. The other increased. Away, yea, they have slain thy servants with the sword, and only ran my way to tell thee. And while he was yet speaking, there came another, and said, The fire of God is fallen from heaven, it hath consumed, and brent up all thy sheep and servants, and only ran my way to tell thee. In the mean season, while he was yet speaking, there came another, and said, The Chaldees made 3 armies, and fell upon thy camels, which they have carried away, yea, and slain thy servants with the sword, and only am gotten away to tell thee. While he was speaking, there came yet another, and said, Thy sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house, and suddenly there came a mighty great wind out of the south, and smote the 4 corners of the house, which fell upon thy children, so that they are dead, and am gotten away alone to tell thee. Then Job stood up, and rent his clothes, shaved his head, fell down upon the ground, worshipped, and said, Naked came out of my mother's womb, and naked shall turn thither again. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Now blessed be the name of the Lord. In all these things did Job not offend, nor murmured foolishly against God. It happened also upon a time that when the servants of God came and stood before the Lord, Sathan came among them and stood before him. And the Lord said unto Sathan, From whence comest thou? Sathan answered and said, Have gone about the land and walked thorough it. Then said the Lord unto Sathan, Hast thou not considered my servant Job, how that he is an innocent and virtuous man, such one as feareth God and escheweth evil, and that there is none like him in the land? But thou movedst me against him to punish him, yet is it in vain, for he continueth still in his godliness. Sathan answered the Lord and said, Skin for skin. Yea, a man will give all that ever he hath for his life. But lay thine hand upon him, touch him once upon the bone and flesh, and hold, he shall curse thee to thy face. Then said the Lord unto Sathan, Lo, there hast thou him in thy power, but spare his life. So went Sathan forth from the Lord, and smote Job with marvellous sore boils from the sole of the foot unto his crown, so that vive, other, the, other, the, other, the Greek in origin add herunto, as it hath pleased the Lord, so is it done. Other also, other, biles. He sat upon the ground in the ashes, and scraped off the filth of his sores with a potsherd. Then said his wife unto him, Dost thou continue in thy perfectness? Curse God and die. But Job said unto her, Thou speakest like a foolish woman. Seeing we have received prosperity at the hand of God, for should we not be content with adversity also? In all these things did not Job sin with his lips? Now when Job's friends heard of all the trouble that happened to him, there came 3 of them, every one from his own place. namely Eliphaz the Themanite, Bildad the Suhite, and Zophar the Naamathite. For they were agreed together to come, to show their compassion on him, and to comfort him. So when they lift up their eyes afar off, they knew him not. Then they cried and wept. Then every one of them rent his clothes, and sprinkled dust upon their heads in the air. They sat them down by him also upon the ground 7 days and 7 nights. Neither was there any of them that spake one word unto him, for they saw that his pain was very great. After this opened Job his mouth, and cursed his day, and said, Lost be the day wherein was born, and the night in the which it was said, There is a man-child conceived. The same day be turned to darkness, and not regarded of God from above, neither be shined upon with light, but be covered with darkness and the shadow of death. Let the dim cloud fall upon it, and let it be lapped in with sorrow. Let the dark storm overcome that night. Let it not be reckoned among the days of the year, nor counted in the months. Despised be that night, and discommended. Let them that curse the day, even those that be ready to raise up mourning, give it also their curse. Let the stars be dim thorough darkness of it. Let it look for light, but let it see none, neither the raising up of the fair morning. Because it shut not up the womb that bare me, nor hide these sorrows from mine eyes. Alas, why died not in the birth? Why did not perish as soon as came out of my mother's womb? Why set they me upon their knees? Why gave they me suck with their breasts? Then should now have lain still, should have slept and been at rest, like as the kings and lords of the earth, which build themselves special places. V other, atter, V other, yet, V other, the, V other. Due it their curse also, you and those that be ready to raise VP Lewithan, as the princes that have great substance of gold, and their houses full of silver. O that utterly had no being, or were as a thing born out of time, that is put aside, ether as young children, which never saw the light. There must the wicked cease from their tyranny. There such as are overlaboured be at rest. There are those let out free which have been in prison, so that they hear no more the voice of the oppressor. There are small and great, the bondman, and he that is free from his master. Wherefore is the light given to him that is in misery, and life unto them that have heavy hearts, which long for death if it come not, and search for it more than for treasure, which also would be exceedingly glad, and rejoice if they found their grave. That should be joy to the man whose way is hid, which God keepeth back from him. For my sighs come before eat, and my roarings fall out like flowing water. For the thing that feared is come upon me, and the thing that was afraid of is happened unto me. Was not happy, had not quietness, was not in rest, and now cometh such misery upon me. Then answered Eliphaz the Temanite, and said unto him, If we begin to commune with thee, peradventure thou wilt be discontent. But who can withhold himself from speaking? Behold, thou hast been a teacher of many, and hast comforted the weary hands. Thy words have set up those that were fallen. Thou hast refreshed the weak knees. But now that the plague is come upon thee, thou shrinkest away. Now that it hath touched thyself, thou art faint-hearted. Is not this thy fear, thy steadfastness, thy patience, and the perfectness of thy ways? Consider, pray thee, who ever perished being an innocent, or when were the godly destroyed? As have seen them that plough vanity, and sow malice reap the same. With the blast of God did they perish, and with the breath of his anger consumed they away. The roaring of the lion, the voice of the lioness, and the teeth of the lion's whelp survive. Other, which long for death, and it cometh not. For if they might find their grave, they would be marvellous glad as those that dig up treasure. Vive, other, this is the cause that sigh. V, other, a water-floud. V, other, common. V, other, where is now thy fear of God? V, other, life. V, other, wickedness. V, other, mischief. V, other. For when God bloweth upon them, they perish and are destroyed, thorough the blast of his wrath. Vive, other, crying. V, other, Leos, broken. Thelion perisheth for lack of prey, and the lion's whelps are scattered abroad. And unto me was the word hid, and mine ear hath received a little thereof, in the fantasies and thoughts of the visions of the night, when sleep cometh on men. Fear came upon me, and dread, and made all my bones to shake. And when the wind passed by before my presence, it made the hairs of my flesh stand up. He stood there, and knew not his face. An image there was before me, and there was stillness. So that heard this voice, Shall man be more just than God? Or shall man be purer than his Maker? Behold, there is no trust to his servants, and in his angels hath he found frowardness. how much more in them that dwell in houses of clay, whose foundation is but earth, which shall be consumed by the moth. They shall be smitten from morning unto the evening. Yea, they shall perish everlastingly, and no man think thereon. Is not their dignity taken away with them? They shall die, and not in wisdom. Name me one else, if thou can find any. Ye look about thee upon any of the holy men. As for the foolish man, displease sure killeth him, and anger slayeth the ignorant. Have seen myself, when the foolish was deep-rooted, that his beauty was suddenly destroyed, that his children were without prosperity or health, that they were slain in the door, and no man to deliver them, that his harvest was eaten up of the hungry, that the weaponed man had spoiled it, and that the thirsty had drunk up his riches. Is it not the earth that bringeth forth travail, neither cometh sorrow out of the ground? But it is man that is born unto misery, like as the bird for to flee. But now we'll speak of the Lord, and talk of God, which doth things that are unsearchable and marvellous without number, which giveth rain upon the earth, and poureth water vif. Other, great. Vive. Other, because he can get no. V. Other, there is spoken unto me a thing in counsel, which hath given a terrible sound in mine ear. Vive. Other, with a vision in the night, when men are fallen asleep. Vive. Other, stowed. V. Other, then stowed there one before me, whose face knew not. An image there was, and the weather was still. V. Other, may a man be justified before God? May there any man be judged to be clean by reason of his own works? V. Other, behold, he hath found unfaithfulness among his own servants, and proud disobedience among his angels. Vive. Other, then shall they. Vive. Other, be moth-eaten. Vive. Other, destroyed. V. Other, or ever they be aware. Vive. Other, and be taken away so clean that none of them shall remain, but be dead, or ever they be aware of it. The other, sodely, upon all things, which setteth up them of low degree, and sendeth prosperity to those that are in heaviness, which destroyeth the devices of the subtle, so that they are not able to perform the things that they take in hand, which compass the wise in their own craftiness, and overthroweth the counsel of the wicked, insomuch that they run into darkness by fair day, and grope about them at the noonday, like as in the night. And so he delivereth the poor from the sword, from their mouth, and from the hand of the cruel, that the poor may have hope, and that the mouth of the oppressor may be stopped. Behold, happy is the man whom God punisheth. Therefore despise not thou the chastening of the Almighty. For though he make a wound, he giveth a medicine again. Though he smite, his hand maketh whole again. He delivereth thee out of 6 troubles, so that in the 7th there can no harm touch thee. In the midst of hunger he saveth thee from death, and when it is war, from the power of the sword. He shall keep thee from the perilous tongue, so that when trouble cometh, thou shalt not need to fear. In destruction and dearth thou shalt be merry, and shalt not be afraid for the beasts of the earth. But the castles in the land shall be confederate with thee, and the beasts of the field shall give thee peace. Yea, thou shalt know that thy dwelling place shall be in rest. Thou shalt behold thy substance, and be no more punished for sin. Thou shalt see also that thy seed shall increase, and that thy posterity shall be as the grass upon the earth. Thou shalt come to thy grave in a fair age, like as the corn sheaves are brought into the barn in due season. Lo, this is the matter, as we ourselves have proved by experience. Therefore now that thou hearest it, take better heed to thyself. Job answered and said, O that my misery were weighed, and my punishment laid in the balances, for then should it be heavier than the sand of the sea. This is the cause that my words are so sorrowful. For the arrows of the Almighty are in me, whose indignation hath drunk up my spirit, and the terrible fears of God fight against me. Doth the wild ass roar when he hath grass, or crieth the ox when he hath fodder enough? That which is unsavoury, shalt it be eaten without vive? Other, see, salt, or is there any taste in the white of an egg? The things that sometime might not away withal are now my meat for very sorrow. O that might have my desire! O that God would grant me the thing that long for, that he would begin and smite me, that he would let his hand go and hew me down. Then should have some comfort, yea, would desire him in my pain, that he should not spare, for will not be against the words of the Holy One. What power have to endure? Or what is mine end, that my soul might be patient? Is my strength the strength of stones, or is my flesh made of brass? Is it not so that there is in me no help, that my substance is taken from me? He that is in tribulation ought to be comforted of his neighbour, But the fear of the Lord is clean away. Mine own brethren pass over by me as the water brook, that hastily runneth thorough the valleys. But they that fear the hoarfrost, the snow shall fall upon them. When their time cometh, they shall be destroyed and perish. And when they be set on fire, they shall be removed out of their place. For the paths that they go in are crooked. They haste after vain things, and shall perish. Consider the paths of Theman and the ways of Saba, wherein they have put their trust. Confounded are they that put any confidence in them. For when they came to obtain the things that they looked for, they were brought to confusion. Even so are ye also come unto me. But now that ye see my misery, ye are afraid. Did desire you to come hither, or to give me any of your substance, to deliver me from the enemy's hand, or to save me from the power of the mighty? Teach me, and will hold my tongue, and if do err, show me wherein. Wherefore blame ye then the words that are well and truly spoken? Which of you can reprove them? Saving only that ye are subtle to check men's sayings, and can speak many words in the wind. Ye fall upon the fatherless, and go about to overthrow your own friend. Wherefore look not only upon me, but upon yourselves, whether lie or no. Turn into your own selves, pray you. Be indifferent judges, and consider mine unguiltiness. Whether there be any unrighteousness in my tongue, or vain words in my mouth. Other. May a thing be eaten unseasoned, or without salt? What taste hath ye white within the yolk and egg? Vive. Other. Am able to help myself? Is not my strength gone from me, like as if one withdrew a good deed from his friend, and forsook the fear of God? Is not the life of man upon earth a very battle? Are not his days like the days of an hired servant? For like as a bondservant desireth the shadow, and as an hireling would fain have an end of his work, even so have laboured whole months long, but in vain, and many a careful night have told. When laid me down to sleep, said, O when shall rise? Again longed sore for the night. Thus am full of sorrow till it be dark. My flesh is clothed with worms, filthiness and dust. My skin is withered and crumpled together. My days pass over more speedily than a weaver can weave out his web, and are gone, or am aware. O remember that my life is but a wind, and that mine eye shall no more see the pleasures thereof, yea, and that none other man's eye shall see me any more. For if thou fasten thine eyes upon me, come to naught like as a cloud is consumed and vanisheth away. Even so he that goeth down to hell cometh no more up, nor turneth again into his house, neither shall his place know him any more. Therefore will not spare my mouth, but will speak in the trouble of my spirit, in that bitterness of my mind will talk. Am a sea or a whale fish that thou keepest me so in prison? When think my bed shall comfort me, shall have some refreshing by talking by myself upon my couch. Then troublest thou me with dreams, and makest me so afraid thorough visions, that my soul wisheth rather to be strangled, and my bones to be dead. Can see no remedy, shall live no more. O spare me then, for my days are but vain. What is man that thou hast him in such reputation, and settest so much by him? Thou takest diligent care for him, and suddenly doest thou try him. Why goest thou not from me, nor lettest me alone so long till swallow down my spittle? Have offended, what shall do unto thee, O thou preserver of men? Why hast thou made me to stand in thy way, and am so heavy a burden unto myself? Why doest thou not forgive my sin? Wherefore takest thou not away my wickedness? Behold, now must sleep in the dust, and if thou seekest me tomorrow in the morning shall be gone. Then answered Baldad the Suhite, and said, How long wilt thou talk of such things? How long shall thy mouth speak so proud words? Doth God pervert the thing that is law? Vive, other, a war. Vive, other, hanged. Vive, other, sodly. Fool, or doth the Almighty destroy the thing that is right? When thy sons sinned against him, did not he punish them for their wickedness? If thou wouldest now resort unto God by times, and make thy humble prayer to the Almighty, if thou wouldest live a pure and godly life, should he not wake up unto thee immediately, and give thee the beauty of righteousness again? Insomuch that whereinsoever thou hadst lit till afore, thou shouldest now have great abundance. Inquire of them that have been before thee, search diligently among thy forefathers, namely that we are but of yesterday, and consider not that our days upon earth are but a very shadow. They shall show thee, they shall tell thee, yea, they will gladly confess the same. May a rush be green without moistness, may the grass grow without water. No, but or ever it be shot forth, and or ever it be gathered, it withereth before any other herb. Even so goeth it with all them that forget God, and even thus also shall the hypocrite's hope come to naught. His confidence shall be destroyed, for he trusteth in a spider's web. He leaneth him upon his house, but he shall not stand. He holdeth him fast by it, yet shall he not endure. Oftentime a thing doth flourish, and men think that it may abide the sun shining. It shooteth forth the branches in his garden. It taketh many roots in so much that it is like a house of stones. But if it be taken out of his place, every man denieth it, saying, Know thee not. Lo, thus is it with him that rejoiceth in his own doings, and as for others, they grow out of the earth. Behold, God will not cast away a virtuous man, neither will he help the ungodly. Thy mouth shall be still with laughing, and thy lips with gladness. They that hate thee shall be confounded, and the dwellings of the ungodly shall come to naught. Job answered and said, As for that, know it is so of a truth that a man compared unto God cannot be justified. If he will argue with him, he shall not be able to answer him unto one among 1,000. He is wise of heart and mighty in strength. Whoever prospered that took part against him? He translateth the mountains, or ever they be aware, and overthroweth them in his wrath. He removeth the earth out of her place, that her pillars shake withal. He commandeth the other sunshine, other a war. Sun, and it riseth not. He closeth up the stars as it were under a signet. He himself alone spreadeth out the heavens, and goeth upon the waves of the sea. He maketh the veins of heaven, the Orions, the 7 stars, and the secret places of the south. He doth great things such as are unsearchable, yea, and wonders without number. If he came by me, might not look upon him. If he went his way, should not perceive it. If he be hasty to take anything away, who will make him restore it again? Who will say unto him, What doest thou? He is God, whose wrath no man may withstand, but the proudest of all must stoop under him. How should then answer him? Or what words should find out against him? Yea, though be righteous, yet will not give him one word again, but meekly submit myself to my judge. Albeit that call upon him, and he hear me, yet am not sure that he hath heard my voice. He troubleth me so with the tempest, and woundeth me out of measure without a cause. He will not let my spirit be in rest, but filleth me with bitterness. If men will speak of strength, he is the strongest of all. If men will speak of righteousness, who dare be my record? If will justify myself, mine own mouth shall condemn me. If will put forth myself for a perfect man, he shall prove me a wicked doer. For that should be an innocent. My conscience knoweth it not. Yea, myself am weary of my life. This one thing will say, He destroyeth both the righteous and ungodly. And though he slay suddenly with the scourge, yet laugheth he at the punishment of the innocent. As for the world, he giveth it over into the power of the wicked, such as the rivers be, whereof all lands are full. Is it not so? Where is there any, but he is such one? My days have been more swift than a runner. They are gone suddenly, and have seen no good thing. They are passed away, as the ships that be good under sail, and as the eagle that hasteth to the prey. When am purposed to forget my complainings, to change my countenance, and to comfort myself. Then am afraid of all my works. For know thou favourest not an evil doer. If be then a wicked one, why have laboured in vain? Though washed myself with snow water, and made mine hands never so clean, yet shouldest thou dip me in the mire, and mine own clothes should defile me. For he that must give answer unto other wanes, other withstowed, other stoop, and with whom go to law is not a man as am. Neither is there any daysman to reprove both the parts, or to lay his hand betwixt us. Let him take his rod away from me, yea, let him make me no more afraid of him, and then shall answer him without any fear. For as long as am in such fearfulness, can make no answer. And why? It grieveth my soul to live. Nevertheless, now will put forth my words, will speak out of the very heaviness of my soul, and will say unto God, O do not condemn me, but show me the cause wherefore thou judgest me on this manner. Thinkest thou it well done to oppress me, to cast me off, being a work of thine hands, and to maintain the counsel of the ungodly? Hast thou fleshly eyes then, or doest thou look as a man looketh? Are thy days as the days of man, and thy years as man's years? That thou makest such inquisition for my wickedness, and searchest out my sin? Whereas, notwithstanding, thou knowest that am no wicked person, and that there is no man able to deliver me out of thine hand. Thy hands have made me, and fashioned me altogether round about. Wilt thou then destroy me suddenly? O remember, beseech thee, how that thou madest me of the mould of the earth, and shalt bring me to earth again. Hast thou not milked me as it were milk, and turned me to curdles like cheese? Thou hast covered me with skin and flesh, and joined me together with bones and sinews. Thou hast granted me life and done me good, and the diligent heed that thou tookest upon me hath preserved my spirit. Though thou hidest these things in thine heart, yet am sure that thou rememberest them all. Wherefore didst thou keep me when sinned, and hast not cleansed me from mine offence? If do wickedly, woe is me therefore. If be righteous, yet dare not lift up my head. So full am of confusion, and see mine own misery. Thou huntest me out, being in heaviness, as it were a lion, and troublest me out of mere shore. Thou bringest fresh witnesses against me, thy wrath increasest thou upon me. Very many are the plagues that am in. Wherefore hast thou brought me out of my mother's womb? O that had perished, and that no eye had seen me. If they had carried me to my grave as soon as was born, then should be now as though had never been. Shall not my short life come so soon to an end? O hold thee from me, let me alone, that may ease myself a little afore go thither from whence shall not turn again, namely to that land of darkness and shadow of death, yea, into that dark cloudy land and deadly shadow, whereas is no order but terrible fear as in the darkness. Then answered Zophar the Naamathite, and said, Should not he that maketh many words be answered? Should he that babbleth much be commended therein? Should men give ear unto thee only? Thou wilt laugh other men to scorn, and shall nobody mock thee again. Wilt thou say unto God, The thing that take in hand is perfect, and am clean in thy sight? O that God would speak and open his lips against thee, that he might show thee out of his secret wisdom how many-fold his law is. Then shouldest thou know that God had forgotten thee because of thy sins. Wilt thou find out God with thy seeking? Wilt thou attain to the perfectness of the Almighty? He is higher than heaven, what wilt thou do? Deeper than hell, how wilt thou then know him? His length exceedeth the length of the earth, and his breadth the breadth of the sea. Though he turn all things upside down, close them in, or thrust them together, who dare check him therefore? For it is he that knoweth the vanity of men. He seeth their wickedness also, should he not then consider it? A vain body exalteth himself, and the Son of Man is like a wild ass's foal. If thou hadst now a right heart, and liftest up thine hands toward him, if thou wouldest put away the wickedness which thou hast in hand, so that no ungodliness dwelt in thy house, then mightest thou lift up thy face without shame. Then shouldest thou be sure, and have no need to fear. Then shouldest thou forget thy misery, and think no more upon it than upon the waters that run by. Then should thy life be as clear as the noonday, and spring forth as the morning. Then mightest thou have comfort in the hope that thou hast, and sleep quietly when thou art buried. Then shouldest thou take thy rest, and no man to make thee afraid, yea, many one should set much by thee. As for the eyes of the ungodly, they shall be consumed and not escape. Their hope shall be misery and sorrow of mind. So Job answered and said, Then, no doubt, ye are the men alone, and wisdom shall perish with you. But have understanding as well as ye, and am no less than ye. Yea, who knoweth not these things? Thus he that calleth upon God, and whom God heareth, is mocked of his neighbour. The godly and innocent man is laughed to scorn. Godliness is a light despised in the hearts of the rich, and is set for them to stumble upon. The houses of robbers are in wealth and prosperity, and they that maliciously meddle against God dwell without care. Yea, God giveth all things richly with his hand. Ask the cattle, and they shall inform thee, the fowls of the air, and they shall tell thee. Speak to the earth, and it shall show thee, or to the fishes of the sea, and they shall certify thee. What is he but he knoweth that the hand of the Lord made all these, in whose hand is the soul of every living thing, and the breath of all men? Have not the ears pleasure in hearing, and the mouth in tasting the thing that it eateth? Among old persons there is wisdom, and among the aged is understanding. Yea, with God is wisdom and strength. It is he that hath counsel and foreknowledge. If he break down a thing, who can set it up again? If he shut a thing, who will open it? Behold, if he withhold the waters, they dry up. If he let them go, they destroy the earth. With him is strength and wisdom. He knoweth both the deceiver and him that is deceived. He carrieth away the wise men as it were a spoil, and bringeth the judges out of their wits. He louseth the girdle of kings, and girdleth their loins with a bond. He leadeth away the priests into captivity, and turneth the mighty upside down. He taketh the verity from out of the mouth, and disappointeth the aged of their wisdom. He poureth out confusion upon princes, and comforteth them that have been oppressed. Look, what lieth hid in darkness, he declareth it openly, and the very shadow of death bringeth he to light. He both increaseth the people and destroyeth them. He maketh them to multiply, and driveth them away. He changeth the heart of the princes and kings of the earth, and disappointeth them, so that they go wandering out of the way, and grope in the dark without light, staggering to and fro like drunken men. Lo, all this have seen with mine eye, heard with mine ear, and understand it. Look what ye know, that same do know also, neither am inferior unto you. Nevertheless am purposed to talk with the Almighty, and my desire is to commune with God. As for you, ye are workmasters of lies, and unprofitable other common, irritable physicians altogether. Would God ye kept your tongue, that ye might be taken for wise men. Therefore hear my words, and ponder the sentence of my lips. Will ye make an answer for God with lies, and maintain him with deceit? Will ye accept the person of God, and entreat for him? Shall that help you when he calleth you to reckoning? Think ye to beguile him as a man is beguiled? He shall punish you and reprove you if ye do secretly accept any person. Shall he not make you afraid when he showeth himself? Shall not his terrible face fall upon you? Your remembrance shall be like unto the dust, and your pride shall be turned to clay. Hold your tongues now, and let me speak, for there is something come into my mind. Wherefore do bear my flesh in my teeth, and my soul in my hands. Lo, there is neither comfort nor hope for me, if he will slay me. But if show and reprove mine own ways in his sight, he is even the same that maketh me whole. And why? There may no hypocrite come before him. Hear my words, and ponder my sayings with your ears. Behold, now have prepared my judgment, and know that shall be found righteous. What is he that will go to law with me? For if hold my tongue, shall die. Nevertheless grant me two things, and then will not hide myself from thee. Withdraw thine hand from me, and let not the fearful dread of thee make me afraid. And then send for me to the law, that may unswear for myself, or else let me speak, and give thou thee unswear. How great are my misdeeds and sins! Let me know my transgressions and offences. Wherefore hidest thou thy face, and holdest me for thine enemy? Wilt thou be so cruel and extreme unto a flying leaf, and follow upon dry stubble? That thou layest so sharply to my charge, and will utterly undo me for the sins of my youth? Thou hast put my foot in the stocks. Thou lookest narrowly unto all my paths, and markest the steps of my feet. Whereas, notwithstanding, must con some like as a foul carrion, and as a cloth that is moth-eaten. Man that is born of a woman hath but a short time to live, and is full of divers miseries. He cometh up and falleth away like a flower. He flieth as it were a shadow, and never continueth in one state. Thinkest thou it now well done to open verses other? Punish you shall he, and reprove you. 5. Other. Behold, though sentence were go and veep on me, am sure to be known for unguilty. Thine eyes upon such one, and to bring me before thee in judgment. Who can make it clean that cometh from an unclean thing? Nobody. The days of man are short, the number of his months are known only to thee. Thou hast appointed him his bounds, he cannot go beyond them. Go from him that he may rest a little, until his day come which he looketh for, like as an hireling doth. If a tree be cut down, there is some hope yet, that it will sprout and shoot forth the branches again. For though a root be waxen old and dead in the ground, yet when the stock getteth the scent of water, it will bud and bring forth boughs, like as when it was first planted. But as for man, when he is dead, perished, and consumed away, what becometh of him? The floods when they be dried up, and the rivers when they be empty, are filled again thorough the flowing waters of the sea. But when man sleepeth, he riseth not again until the heaven perish. He shall not wake up nor rise out of his sleep. O that thou wouldest keep me, and hide me in the hell until thy wrath were stilled, and to appoint me a time wherein thou mightest remember me. May a dead man live again. All the days of this my pilgrimage am looking, when my changing shall come. If thou wouldest but call me, should obey thee. Only despise not the work of thine own hands. For thou hast numbered all my goings, yet be not thou too extreme upon my sins. Thou hast sealed up mine offences as it were in a bag, but be merciful unto my wickedness. The mountains fall away at the last, the rocks are removed out of their place, the waiters pierce thorough the very stones by little and little, the floods wash away the gravel and the earth. Even so destroyest thou the hope of man in like manner. Thou prevailest against him so that he passeth away. Thou changes his estate, and puttest him from thee. Whether his children come to worship or no, he cannot tell. And if they be men of low degree, he knoweth not. While he liveth, his flesh must have travail, and while the soul is in him, he must be in sorrow. Then answered Eliphaz the Themanite, and said, Should a wise man answer as the science of the wind, and fill his belly with the wind of the east, thou reprovest with words that are nothing worth, and speakest the things which can do number five. Other. Should a wise man give such an answer as it were one that spake in the wind, and fill his stomach with anger? V. Other. Wrath. Good. As for shame thou hast set it aside, else wouldest thou not make so many words before God. But thy wickedness teacheth thy mouth, and so thou hast chosen thee a crafty tongue. Thine own mouth condemneth thee, and not, yea, thine own lips shape the answer. Art thou the first man that ever was born? Or wast thou made before the hills? Hast thou heard the secret counsel of God, that all wisdom is too little for thee? What knowest thou that we know not? What understandest thou, but we can the same? With us are old and aged men, yea, such as have lived longer than thy forefathers. Thinkest thou it a small thing of the consolations of God? And are they with the living word? Why doth thine heart make thee so proud? Why standest thou so greatly in thine own conceit? Whereunto look thine eyes, that thy mind is so puffed up against God, and lettest such words go out of thy mouth? What is man that he should be clean? What hath he which is born of a woman, whereby he might be known to be righteous? Behold, there is no trust to his saints, yea, the very heavens are not clean in his sight. How much more then an abominable and vile man, which drinketh wickedness like water? Will tell thee, hear me. Will show thee a thing that know, which wise men have told, and hath not been hid from their fathers, unto whom only the land was given, that no stranger should come among them. The ungodly despaireth all the days of his life, and the number of a tyrant's years is unknown. A fearful sound is ever in his ears, and when it is peace, yet feareth he destruction. He believeth never to be delivered out of darkness, the sword is always before his eyes. When he goeth forth to get his living, he thinketh plainly that the day of darkness is at hand. Sorrow and carefulness make him afraid, and compass him round about, like as it were a king with his host ready to the battle. For he hath stretched out his hand against God, and armed himself against the Almighty. He runneth proudly upon him, and with a stiff neck fighteth he against him, whereas he covereth his face with fatness, and maketh his body well liking. Therefore shall his dwelling be in desolate cities, and in houses which no man inhabits, but are become heaps of stones. He shall not be rich, neither shall his substance convey other. Counsel. V. Other. Dost thou no more regard the comfort of God, but thy wicked words will not suffer thee? Viv. Other. He hath found unfaithfulness among his own sancties. Continue, nor increase upon earth. He shall never come out of darkness. The flame shall dry up his branches, with the blast of the mouth of God shall he be taken away. He will never apply himself to faithfulness and truth, so sore is he deceived with vanity. He shall perish afore his time be worn out, and his hand shall not be green. He shall be plucked off as an untimely grape from the vine, and shall let his flower fall, as the olive doth. For the congregation of hypocrites is unfruitful, and the fire shall consume the houses of such as are greedy to receive gifts. He conceiveth travail, he beareth mischief, and his body bringeth forth deceit. Job answered and said, Have ofttimes heard such things. Miserable givers of comfort are ye, all the sort of you. Shall not thy vain words come yet to an end? Or hast thou yet any more to say? Could speak as ye do also. But would God that your soul were in my soul's stead, then should heap up words against you, and shake my head at you, should comfort you with my mouth, and release your pain with the talking of my lips. But what shall do? For all my words my sorrow will not cease, and though hold my tongue, yet will it not depart from me. And now that am full of pain, and all that have destroyed, whereof my wrinkles bear witness, there standeth up a dissembler to make me answer with lies to my face. He is angry at me, he hateth me, and gnasheth upon me with his teeth. Mine enemy scowleth upon me with his eyes. They have opened their mouths wide upon me, and smitten me upon the cheek despitefully. They have eased themselves thorough mine adversity. God hath given me over to the ungodly, and delivered me into the hands of the wicked. Was some time in wealth, but suddenly hath he brought me to naught. He hath taken me by the neck. He hath rent me, and set me as it were a mark for him to shoot at. He hath compassed me round about with his darts. He hath wounded my loins, and not spared. My bowels hath he poured upon the ground. He hath given me one wound upon another, and is fallen upon me like a giant. Have sewed a sackcloth upon my skin, and lie with my strength in the dust. My face is swollen with weeping, and mine eyes are waxen dim. Howbeit there is no wickedness in my hands, and my prayer is clean. O earth, V. Other, schooleth. Cover not my blood, and let my crying find no room. For lo, my witness is in heaven, and he that knoweth me is above in the height. My friends laugh me to scorn, but mine eye poureth out tears unto God. Though a body might plead with God as one man doth with another, yet the number of my years are come, and must go the way from whence shall not turn again. My breath faileth, my days are shortened. Am hard at death's door, have deceived no man, yet must mine eye continue in heaviness. O deliver me and set me by thee. Who shall then be able to thrust my hands together? Thou hast withholden their hearts from understanding, therefore shall they not be set up on high. He promiseth his friends part of his good, but his own children spend it. He hath made me as it were a byword of the common people. Am his jesting stock among them. My countenance is heavy for very anger, and the members of my body are become like a shadow. Virtuous men therefore shall well consider this, and the innocent shall take part against the hypocrite. The righteous will keep his way, and he that hath clean hands will ever be stronger and stronger. As for you, turn you and get you hence, for cannot see one wise man among you. My days are past, my thoughts are vanished away, which have vexed my heart, changing the night into day and the light into darkness. Though tarry never so much, yet the grave is my house, and must make my bed in the dark. Call corruption my father, and the worms call my mother and my sister. What helpeth then my long tarrying? Or who will fulfill the thing that look for? All that have shall go down into the pit, and lie with me in the dust. Then answered Baldad the Suhite, and said, When will ye make an end of your words? Mark well, and consider, we will speak also. Wherefore are we counted as beasts, and reputed so vile in your sight? Why destroyest thou thyself with anger? Shall the earth be forsaken, or the stones removed out of their place because of thee? Shall not the light of the ungodly be put out? Yea, the flame of his fire shall not burn. The light shall be dark in his dwelling, and his candle shall be put out with him. His presumptuous goings shall be kept in, and his own counsel v's other, hath v other, and high, shall cast him down. For his feet shall be taken in the net, and he shall walk in the snare. His foot shall be holden in the gilder, and the thirsty shall catch him. The snare is laid for him in the ground, and a pitfall in the way. Fearfulness shall make him afraid on every side, that he shall not know where to get out. Hunger shall be his substance, and misfortune shall hang upon him. He shall eat the strength of his skin, the firstborn of death shall eat his members. All his comfort and hope shall be rooted out of his dwelling. Very fearfulness shall bring him unto the king. Other men shall dwell in his house, which now is none of his, and brimstone shall be scattered upon his habitation. His roots shall be dried up beneath, and above shall his harvest be cut down. His remembrance shall perish from the earth, and his name shall not be praised in the streets. He shall be driven from the light into darkness, and cast clean out of the world. He shall neither have children nor kinfolks among his people, no, nor any posterity in his country. Young and old shall be astonished at his death. Such are now the dwellings of the wicked, and this is the place of him that knoweth not God. Job answered and said, How long will ye vex my mind, and trouble me with words? Lo, 10 times have ye reproved me. Are ye not ashamed for to laugh me to scorn? If go wrong to myself. But if ye will enhance yourselves against me, and accuse me to be a wicked person because of the shame that is come upon me, know this then, that it is God which hath handled me so violently, and hath compassed me about with his scourges. Behold, though cry, yet violence is done unto me cannot be heard. Though complain, there is none to give sentence with me. He hath hedged up my path, cannot get away, he hath set darkness in my gate. He hath spoiled me of mine honour, and taken the crown away from my head. He hath destroyed me on every side, and am undone. My hope hath he taken away from me, as it were a tree plucked up by the root. His wrath is kindled against me, he taketh me as though were his enemy. His men of war came together, which made their way over me, and besieged my dwelling round about. He hath put my brethren far away. Other, he shall eat his own skin, ye his own arms shall he devour, being a firstborn of death. From me and such as were of mine acquaintance are become strangers unto me. Mine own kinfolk have forsaken me, and my friends have put me out of remembrance. The servants and maids of mine own house take me for a stranger, and am become as an alien in their sight. When call upon my servant, he giveth me no answer. No, though pray him with my mouth. Mine own wife may not abide my breath, am faint to speak fair unto the children of mine own body. Yea, the very desert fools despise me, and when I'm gone from them, they speak evil upon me. All such as were my most familiars abhor me, and they whom loved best are turned against me. My bone hangeth to my skin, and my flesh is away. Only there is left me the skin about my teeth. Have pity upon me, O ye my friends, for the hand of the Lord hath touched me. Why do ye persecute me as God, and are not satisfied of my flesh? O that my words were written, O that they were put in a book. Would God they were graven with an iron pen in lead or in stone. For I am sure that my Redeemer liveth, and that shall rise out of the earth in the latter day, that shall be clothed again with this skin, and see God in my flesh. Yea, myself shall behold him, not with other, but with these same eyes. My reins are consumed within me when ye say, Why do not we persecute him? We have found an occasion against him. But beware of the sword, for the sword will be avenged of wickedness, and be sure that there is a judgment. Then answered Sophar the Naamathite, and said, For the same cause do my thoughts compel me to answer. And why? My mind is tossed here and there. Have sufficiently heard thy checking and reproof, therefore am purposed to make answer after mine understanding. Knowest thou not this, namely, that from the beginning, ever since the creation of man upon earth, the praise of the ungodly hath been short, and that the joy of the hypocrites continued but the twinkling of an eye? Though he be magnified up to the heaven, so that his head reacheth into the clouds, yet he perish at the last like dung, insomuch that they which have seen him say, Where is he? He vanisheth as a dream, so that he can no more be found, and passeth away as a vision in the night. So that, vive, other, alluant, vive, other, feign, vi, other, thee, vi, other, sing, God persecuteth me, will ye vex me also? Have ye not yet enough of the trouble of my flesh? The eye which saw him before getteth now no sight of him, and his place knoweth him no more. His children go a-begging, their hands bring them to sorrow and heaviness. From his youth his bones are full of vice, which shall lie down with him in the earth. When wickedness is sweet in his mouth, he hideth it under his tongue. That he favoureth, that will he not forsake, but keepeth it close in his throat. The meat that he eateth shall be turned to the poison of serpents within his body. The riches that he devoureth shall he break again, for God shall draw them out of his belly, he shall suck the serpent's head, and the adder's tongue shall slay him, so that he shall no more see the rivers and brooks of honey and butter. But labour shall he, and yet have nothing to eat. Great travail shall he make for riches, but he shall not enjoy them. And why? He hath oppressed the poor, and not helped them. Houses hath he spoiled, and not builded them. His belly could never be filled, therefore shall he perish in his covetousness. He devoured so greedily that he left nothing behind, therefore his goods shall not prosper. Though he had plenteousness of everything, yet was he poor, and therefore he is but a wretch on every side. For though the wicked have never so much to fill his belly, yet God shall send his wrath upon him, and cause his battle to reign over him, so that if he flee the iron weapons, he shall be shot with the steel bow. The arrow shall be taken forth, and go out at his back, and a glistering sword thorough the gall of him. Fear shall come upon him. There shall no darkness be able to hide him. And unkindled fire shall consume him, and look what remaineth in his house, it shall be destroyed. The heaven shall declare his wickedness, and the earth shall take part against him. The substance that he hath in his house shall be taken away and perish in the day of the Lord's wrath. This is the portion that the wicked shall have of God, and the heritage that he may look for of the Lord. Job answered and said, O hear my words, and amend yourselves. Suffer me a little that may speak also, and then laugh my words to scorn, if you will. Is it with a man that make this disputation? Which if it were so, should not my spirit be then in sore trouble? Mark me well, be abashed, and lay your hand upon your mouth. For when ponder and ve other, the serpentes header shall succour him. Consider this, am afraid, and my flesh is smitten with fear. Wherefore do wicked men live in health and prosperity, come to their old age, and increase in riches? Their children's children live in their sight, and their generation before their eyes. Their houses are safe from all fear, for the rod of God doth not smite them. Their bullock gendereth, and that not out of time. Their cow calveth, and is not unfruitful. They send forth their children by flocks, and their sons lead the dance. They bear with them tabrets and harps, and have instruments of music at their pleasure. They spend their days in wealthiness, but suddenly they go down to hell. They say unto God, Go from us, we desire not the knowledge of thy ways. What manner of fellow is the Almighty that we should serve him? What profit should we have to submit ourselves unto him? Lo, there is utterly no goodness in them, therefore will not have to do with the counsel of the ungodly. How oft shall the candle of the wicked be put out? How oft cometh their destruction upon them? O what sorrow shall God give them for their part in his wrath? Yea, they shall be even as chaff before the wind, and as dust that the storm carrieth away. And though God save their children from such sorrow, yet will he so reward themselves that they shall know it. Their own destruction and misery shall they see with their eyes, and drink of the fearful wrath of the Almighty. For what careth he what become of his household after his death? whose months pass away swifter than an arrow. Inasmuch then as God hath the highest power of all, who can teach him any knowledge? One dieth now when he is mighty and at his best, rich and in prosperity, even when his bowels are at the fattest and his bones full of merry. Another dieth in sorrow and heaviness, and never had good days. Now sleep they both alike in the earth, and the worms cover them. But know what ye think, yea, and what ye imagine against me unrighteously. For ye say, Where is the prince's palace? Where is the dwelling of the ungodly? Ask any man that goeth by the way, and if he will not regard their tokens and deeds, he shall tell you that the wicked is kept unto the day of destruction, and that the ungodly shall be brought forth in the day of wrath. Who dare reprove him for his ways to his face? Who rewardeth him for the ungraciousness that he doth? Yet vive other, highest. Shall he be brought to his grave, and watch among the heap of the dead? Then shall he be fain to be buried among the stones by the brookside. All men must follow him, and there are innumerable gone before him. O how vain is the comfort that ye give me! Are not your answers clean contrary to right and truth? So Eliphaz the Themanite gave answer and said, May a man be compared unto God in wisdom, though he seem to himself for to be like him. What pleasure hath God in that thou art righteous? Or what doth it profit him that thy ways are perfect? Is he afraid to reprove thee, and to step forth with thee into judgment? Cometh not this for that great wickedness, and for thine ungracious deeds which are innumerable? Thou hast taken the pledge from thy brethren for naught, and robbed the naked of their clothing. To such as were weary hast thou given no water to drink, thou hast withdrawn bread from the hungry. Should such one then as useth violence, wrong, and oppression, doing all things of partiality, and having respect of persons, dwell in the land? Thou hast sent widows away empty, and oppressed the poor fatherless. Therefore art thou compassed about with snares on every side, and suddenly vexed with fear. Shouldest thou then see no darkness? Should not the water flood run over thee? Now be, cause that God is higher than the heavens, and because thou seest the stars are so high, wilt thou therefore say, Tush, how should God know? Doth his dominion reach beyond the clouds? Tush, the clouds cover him that he may not see, for he dwelleth in heaven. Well, thou wilt keep the old way that all wicked men have gone, both old and young, whose fountain is a running water, which saith unto God, Go from us, and after this manner, Tush, what will the Almighty do unto us? Whereas he, notwithstanding, filleth their houses with all good. Which meaning of the ungodly be far from me. For with joy shall the godly, and with gladness shall the innocent see, that their increase shall be hewn down, and their posterity consumed with fire. Therefore reconcile thee unto God, and be content, so shall all things prosper with thee right well. Receive the law at his mouth, and lay up his words in thine heart. For if thou wilt turn to the Almighty, thou shalt stand. Other, the vive. Other, thee. Fast, and all unrighteousness shall be far from thy dwelling. He shall give thee an harvest, which in plenty and abundance shall exceed the dust of the earth, and the gold of Ophir like river stones. Yea, the Almighty his own self shall be thine harvest, and the heap of thy money. Then shalt thou have thy delight in the Almighty, and lift up thy face unto God. Then shalt thou make thy prayer unto him, and he shall hear thee, and thou shalt keep thy promises. Then look what thou takest in hand, he shall make it to prosper with thee, and the light shall shine in thy ways. For whoso humbleth himself, him shall he set up, and whoso looketh meekly shall be healed. If thou be innocent, he shall save thee, and thorough the unguiltiness of thine hands shalt thou be delivered. Job answered and said, My saying is yet this day in bitterness, and my hand heavy among my groanings. O that might see him and find him! O that might come before his seat to plead my cause before him, and to fill my mouth with arguments! That might know what answer he would give me, and that might understand what he would say unto me. Will he plead against me with his great power and strength, or will he lean himself utterly upon me? O no, let him not do so with me. But let him give me like power to go to law, then am sure to win my matter. For though go before, find him not. If come behind, can get no knowledge of him. If go on the left side to ponder his works, cannot attain unto them. Again, if go on the right side, he hideth himself that cannot see him. But as for my way, he knoweth it, and trieth me as the gold in the fire. Nevertheless my feet keep his path, his high street have holden, and not gone out of it. Have not forsaken the commandment of his lips, but look what he charged me with his mouth, that have shut up in my heart. It is he himself alone who will turn him back. He doth as him listeth, and bringeth to pass what he will. He rewardeth me into my bosom, and many other things more doth he as he may by his power. This is the cause that shrink at his presence, so that when consider him, am afraid of him. For in so much as he is God, he maketh my heart soft, and seeing that he is almighty, he putteth me in fear. Thus cannot get out of darkness, the cloud hath so covered my face. 5. Other. Delight. Considering then that there is no time hid from the Almighty, how happeneth it that they which know him will not regard his days? For some men there be that remove other men's landmarks, that rob them of their cattle and keep the same for their own, that drive away the ass of the fatherless, that take the widow's ox for a pledge, that thrust the poor out of the way, and oppress the simple of the world together. Behold, the wild asses in the desert go by times as their man Ner is to spoil. Yea, the very wilderness ministereth food for their children. They reap the cornfield that is not their own, and gather the grapes out of his vineyard, whom they have oppressed by violence. They are the cause that so many men are naked and bare, having no clothes to cover them and keep them from cold. So that when the showers in the mountains have rained upon them, and they be all wet, they have none other succor, but to keep them among the rocks. They spoil the sucking fatherless children, and put the poor in prison, insomuch that they let them go naked without clothing, and yet the hungry bear the sheaves. The poor are fain to labour in their oil mills, yea, and to tread in their wine presses, and yet to suffer thirst. The whole city crieth unto the Lord with sighing, the souls of the slain make their complaint. But God destroyeth them not for all this, whereas they, notwithstanding, are rebellious and disobedient enemies, which seek not his light and way, nor turn again into his path. Timely in the morning do they arise to murder the simple and poor, and in the night they go a-stealing. The eye of the ungodly is like the advuterer that waiteth for the darkness, and saith thus in himself, Tush, there shall no man see me, and so he disguiseth his face. In the night season they search the houses, and hide themselves in the daytime, but will not know the light. For as soon as the day breaketh, the shadow of death cometh upon them, and they go in horrible darkness. The ungodly is very swift. O that his portion also upon earth was swifter than the running water, which suffereth not the shipman to behold the fair and pleasant vineyards. O that they, for the wickedness which they have done, were drawn to the hell, sooner than snow melteth at the heat. O that all compassion upon them were forgotten, that their dainties were worms, that they were clean put out of remembrance, and utterly hewn down like an unfruitful tree. For they maintain the barren, and make them that they cannot bear, and unto widows they do no good. They pluck down the mighty with their power, and when they themselves are gotten up, they are never without fear as long as they live. And though they might be safe, yet they will not receive it, for their eyes look upon their own ways. They are exalted for a little, but shortly are they gone, brought to extreme poverty, and taken out of the way. Yea, and utterly plucked off as the ears of corn. Is it not so? Who will then reprove me as a liar, and say that my words are nothing worth? Then answered Baldad the Suhite, and said, Power and fear is with him above, that maketh peace, sitting in his highness, whose men of war are innumerable, and whose light ariseth over all. But how may a man compared unto God be justified? Or how can he be clean that is born of a woman? Behold, the moon shineth nothing in comparison to him, and the stars are unclean in his sight. How much more then man that is but corruption, and the Son of Man which is but a worm? Job answered and said, O how helpest thou the weak? What comfort givest thou unto him that hath no strength? Where is the counsel that thou shouldest give him which hath no wisdom? Wilt thou so show thine excellent righteousness? Before whom hast thou spoken those words? Who made the breath to come out of the mouth? The giants and worthies that are slain and lie under the world with their companions. Yea, and all they which dwell beneath in the hell are not hid from him, and the very destruction itself cannot be kept out of his sight. He stretcheth out the north over the empty, and hangeth the earth upon nothing. He bindeth the water in his clouds, that they fall not down together. He holdeth back his stole, that it cannot be seen, and spreadeth his clouds before it. He hath compassed the waters with certain bounds, until the day and night come to an end. The very pillars of heaven tremble and quake at his reproof. He filleth the sea with his power, and thorough his wisdom hath he set forth the world. With his spirit hath he garnished the heavens, and with his hand hath he wounded the rebellious serpent. This is now a short sum of his doings. But who is able sufficiently to rehearse his works? Other. War. Who can perceive and understand the thunder of his power? And Job proceeded and went forth in his communication, saying, As truly as God liveth, which hath taken away my power from me, and the Almighty that hath vexed my mind. My lips shall talk of no vanity, and my tongue shall speak no deceit while my breath is in me, and as long as the wind that God hath given me is in my nostrils. God forbid that should grant your cause to be right. As for me, until mine end come, will never go from my innocency. My righteous dealing keep fast, which will not forsake. My heart shall not reprove me of my days. Therefore mine enemy shall be found as the ungodly, and he that taketh part against me as the unrighteous. What hope hath the hypocrite, though he have great good, and though God give him riches after his heart's desire? Doth God hear him the sooner when he crieth unto him in his necessity? Hath he such pleasure and delight in the Almighty that he dare always call upon God? Will teach you in the name of God, and the thing that have of the Almighty will not keep from you. Behold, ye stand in your own conceit, as though ye knew all things. Wherefore then do ye go about with such vain words, saying, This is that portion that the wicked shall have of God, and the heritage that tyrants shall receive of the Almighty. If he get many children, they shall perish with the sword, and his posterity shall have scarceness of bread. Look whom he leaveth behind him, they shall die and be buried, and no man shall have pity of his widows. Though he have as much money as the dust of the earth, and raiment as ready as the clay, he may well prepare it. But the godly shall put it upon him, and the innocent shall deal out the money. His house shall endure as the moth, and as a booth that the watchman maketh. When the rich man dieth, he carrieth nothing with him, he is gone in the twinkling of an eye. Destruction taketh hold upon him as a waterflood, and the tempest stealeth him away in the night season. A vehement wind carrieth him hence, and departeth. A storm plucketh him out of his place. It rusheth in upon him, and spareth him not, he may not escape from the power thereof. Then clap men their hands at him, yea, and jest of him when they look upon his other. Iob also, via other, wet, via other. My righteous dealings will keep fast and not forsake it, for my conscience reproveth me not in all my conversation. Place. There are places where silver is molten and where gold is tried, where iron is digged out of the ground and stones resolved to metal. The darkness shall once come to an end, he can seek out the ground of all things, the stones, the dark, and the horrible shadow. With the river of water parteth he asunder the strange people that knoweth no good neighbourhead, such as are rude, unmannerly, and boisterous. He bringeth food out of the earth, and that which is under consumeth he with fire. There is found a place whose stones are clean sapphires, and where the clots of the earth are gold. There is a way also that the birds know not, that no vulture's eye hath seen, wherein the proud and high-minded walk not, and where no lion cometh. There putteth he his hand upon the stony rocks, and overthroweth the mountains. Rivers flow out of the rocks, and look what is pleasant, his eye seeth it. Out of drops bringeth he great floods together, and the thing that is hid bringeth he to light. How cometh a man then by wisdom? Where is the place that men find understanding? Verily no man can tell how worthy a thing she is, neither is she found in the land of the living. The deep saith, She is not in me. The sea saith, She is not with me. She cannot be gotten for the most fine gold, neither may the price of her be bought with any money. No wedges of gold of Ophir, no precious onyx stones, no sapphire may be compared unto her. No, neither gold nor crystal, neither sweet odours nor golden plate. There is nothing so worthy or so excellent as once to be named unto her, for perfect wisdom goeth far beyond them all. The topaz that cometh out of Indi may in no wise be likened unto her. Yea, no manner of apparel, how pleasant and fair soever it be. From where then cometh wisdom? And where is the place of understanding? She is hid from the eyes of all men, yea, and from the fowls of the air. Destruction and death say, We have heard tell of her with our ears. But God seeth her way and knoweth her place. For he holdeth the ends of the world, and looketh upon all that is under the heaven. When he weighed the winds and measured the waters, when he set the rain in order, and gave the mighty floods a law. Then did he see her, then declared he her, prepared her and knew her. And unto man he said, Behold, to fear the Lord is wisdom, and to forsake evil is understanding. So Job proceeded and went forth in his communication, saying, Oh, that were as was in the months by past, and in the days when God preserved me, when his light shined upon my head, when went after the same light, and shining even thorough the darkness. As it stood with me, when was wealthy and had enough, when God prospered my house, when the Almighty was with me, when my household folks stood about me, when my ways ran over with butter, and when the stony rocks gave me rivers of oil, when went thorough the city unto the gate, and when they set me a chair in the street. When the young men, as soon as they saw me, hid themselves, and when the aged arose and stood up unto me, when the princes left of their talking and laid their hand to their mouth, when the mighty kept still their voice, and when their tongues cleaved to the roof of their mouths, when all they that heard me called me happy, and when all they that saw me wished me good, for delivered the poor when he cried, and the fatherless that wanted help. He that should have been lost gave me a good word, and the widow's heart praised me. And why? Put upon me righteousness, which covered me as a garment, and equity was my crown. Was an eye unto the blind, and a foot to the lame, was a father unto the poor, and when knew not their cause, sought it out diligently. Brake the chafes of the unrighteous, and plucked the spoil out of their teeth. Therefore thought verily that should have died in my nest, and that my days should have been as many as the sands of the sea. For my root was spread out by the water's side, and the dew lay upon my corn. My honour increased more and more, and my bow was ever the stronger in my hand. Unto me men gave ear, me they regarded, and with silence they tarried for my counsel. If had spoken, they would have it none other ways, my words were so well taken among them. They waited for me as the earth doth for the rain, and gaped upon me as the ground doth to receive the latter shower. When laughed, they knew well it was not earnest, and this testimony of my countenance pleased them nothing at all. When agreed unto their way was the chief, and sat as a king among his servants, or as one that comforteth such as be in heaviness, vive. Other, increased. But now they that are mine inferiors and younger than have me in derision. Yea, even they whose fathers would have thought scorn to have set with the dogs of my cattle. The power and strength of their hands might do me no good, and as for their age, it is spent and passed away without any profit. For very misery and hunger they went about in the wilderness like wretches and beggars, plucking up herbs from among the bushes, and the juniper's root was their meat. And when they were driven forth, men cried after them, as it had been to a thief. Their dwelling was beside foul brooks, yea, in the caves and dens of the earth. Upon the dry heath went they about crying, and in the broom hills they gathered them together. They were children of fools and villains, which are dead away from the world. Now am their song, and am become their jesting stock. They abhor me, they flee far from me, and stain my face with spittle. For the Lord hath opened his quiver, he hath hit me, and put a bridle in my mouth. Upon my right hand they rose together against me. They have hurt my feet, made a way to destroy me, and my path have they clean marred. It was so easy for them to do me harm that they needed no man to help them. They fell upon me as it had been the breaking in of waters, and came in by heaps to destroy me. Fearfulness is turned against me. Mine honour vanisheth away more swiftly than wind, and my prosperity departeth hence like as it were a cloud. Therefore is my mind poured full of heaviness, and the days of trouble have taken hold upon me. My bones are pierced thorough in the night sea. Sun and my sinews take no rest. With all their power have they changed my garment, and girded me therewith, as it were with a coat. Am even as it were clay, and am become like ashes and dust. When cry unto thee, thou doest not hear me. And though stand before thee, yet thou regardest me not. Thou art become mine enemy, and with thy violent hand thou takest part against me. In times past thou didst set me up on high, as it were above the wind, but now hast thou given me a very sore fall. Sure am that thou wilt deliver me unto death, whereas a lodging is prepared for all men living. Now use not me to do violence unto them that are destroyed already, but where hurt is done, there use they to help. Did vive other, and high, not weep in the time of trouble. Had not my soul compassion upon the poor? Yet nevertheless, whereas looked for good, evil happened unto me, and whereas waited for light, there came darkness. My bowels seeth within me, and take no rest, for the days of my trouble are come upon me. Meekly and lowly came in, yea, and without any displeasure, stood up in the congregation, and communed with them. But now am a companion of dragons, and a fellow of ostriches. My skin upon me is turned to black, and my bones are brent with heat. My harp is turned to sorrow, and my pipe to weeping. Made a covenant with mine eyes that would not look upon a damsel. For how great a portion shall have of God from above, and what inheritance from the Almighty on high? As for the ungodly, and he that joineth himself to the company of wicked doers, shall not destruction and misery come upon him. Doth not he see my ways, and tell all my goings? If have cleaved unto vanity, or if my feet have run to deceive, let me be weighed in an even balance, that God may see my innocency. If so be that have withdrawn my foot out of the right way, if my heart hath followed mine eyesight, if have stained or defiled my hands, Oh, then is it reason that sow, and another eat, yea, that my generation and posterity be clean rooted out? If my heart hath lusted after my neighbour's wife, or if have laid wait at his door, oh, then let my wife be another man's harlot, and let other lie with her. For this is a wickedness and sin that is worthy to be punished, yea, a fire that utterly should consume and root out all my substance. Did ever think scorn to do right unto my servants and maidens when they had any matter against me? But seeing that God will sit in judgment, what shall do? And for so much as he will needs visit me, what answer shall give him? He that fashioned me in my mother's womb, made he not him also? Were we not both shapen alike in our mother's bodies? When the poor desireth anything at me, have denied it them, have caused the widow stand waiting for me in vain, have eaten my portion alone, that the fatherless hath had no part with me. For mercy grew up with me from my youth, and compassed Sion from my mother's womb. Have seen any man perish thorough nakedness and want of clothing? Or any poor man for very other? Almighty on high, a lack of raiment, whose sides thanked me not, because he was warmed with the wool of my sheep. Did ever lift up my hand to hurt the fatherless? Yea, in the gates where saw myself to be in authority. Then let mine arm fall from my shoulder, and mine armholes be broken from the joints. For have ever feared the vengeance and punishment of God, and knew very well that was not able to bear his burthen. Have put my trust in gold, or have said to the finest gold of all, Thou art my confidence. Have rejoiced because my substance was great, and because my hand gat so much. Did ever greatly regard the rising of the sun, or had the going down of the moon in great reputation? Hath my heart meddled privily with any deceit? Or did ever kiss mine own hand? That were a wickedness worth to be punished, for then should have denied the God that is above. Have ever rejoiced at the hurt of mine enemy? Or was ever glad that any harm happened to him? Oh no, never suffered my mouth to do such a sin as to wish him evil. Yet they of mine own household say, Who shall let us to have our belly full of his flesh? Have not feared a stranger to lie without, but opened my doors unto him. Have ever done any wicked deed where thorough shamed myself before men, or any abomination that was fain to hide it? For if had feared any great multitude of people, or if had been despised of the simple, oh, then should have been afraid. Thus have quietly spent my life, and not gone out at the door. Oh, that had one which would hear me. Lo, this is my cause. Let the Almighty give me answer, and let him that is my contrary party sue me with libel. Then shall take it upon my shoulder, and as a garland about my head. Have told the number of my goings, and delivered them unto him as to a prince. But if cause be that my land cry against me, or that the furrows thereof make any complaint, if have eaten the fruits thereof unpaid for, yea, if have grieved any of the ploughmen, then let thistles grow instead of my wheat, and thorns for my barley. Here end the words of Iob. So these three men would strive no more with Job, because he held himself a righteous man. But Elihu, the son of Barachel, the Busite of the kindred of Ram, was very sore displeased at Job, that he called himself just before God. And with Job's three friends he was angry also, because they had found no reasonable answer to overcome him. Now tarried Elihu till they had ended their communication with Job, for why? They were elder than he. So when Elihu, the son of Barachel the Busite, saw that these three men were not able to make Job answer, he was miscontent. So that he gave answer himself, and said, Considering that am young, and ye be men of age, was afraid, and durst not show forth my mind. For thought thus within myself, It becometh old men to speak, and the aged to teach wisdom. Every man, no doubt, hath a mind, but it is the inspiration of the Almighty that giveth understanding. All men are not wise, neither doth every aged man understand the thing that is lawful. Therefore will speak also, in so far as may be heard, and will show you mine opinion. For when had waited till ye made an end of your talking, and heard your wisdom, what arguments you made in your communication? Yea, when had diligently pondered what ye said, found not one of you that made any good argument against Job, or that directly could make answer unto his words, lest ye should praise yourselves to have found out wisdom, because it is God that hath cast him out, and no man. Nevertheless, seeing he hath not spoken unto me, therefore will not answer him as ye have done. For they were so abashed that they could not make answer nor speak one word. But in so much as ye will not speak, standing still like dumb men, and making no one swear, have a good hope for my part to shape him an answer, and to show him my meaning. For I am full of words, and the spirit that is within me compelleth me. Behold, am as the new wine, which hath no vent, and bursteth the new vessels in sunder. Therefore will speak that may have vent, will open my lips and make answer. will regard no manner of person, no man will spare. For if would go about to please men, know not how soon my Maker would take me away. Wherefore hear my words, O Job, and hearken to me all that will say, Behold, will open my mouth, and my tongue shall speak out of my chores. My heart shall order my words aright, and my lips shall talk of pure wisdom. The Spirit of God hath made me, and the breath of the Almighty hath given me my life. If thou canst, then give me answer. Prepare thyself to stand before me face to face. Behold, before Vive, other, Dom, Vive, other, unto all, Vive, other, stowed. God am even as thou, for am fashioned and made even of the same mould. Therefore thou needest not be afraid of me, neither needest thou to fear that my authority shall be too heavy for thee. Now hast thou spoken in mine ears, and have heard the voice of thy words. Am clean without any fault, am innocent, and there is no wickedness in me. But lo, he hath picked a quarrel against me, and taketh me for his enemy. He hath put my foot in the stocks, and looketh narrowly unto all my paths. Behold, unto these unreasonable words of thine will make answer. Should God be reproved of man? Why dost thou then strive against him? Because he giveth thee no accompts of all his doings. For when God doth once command a thing, there should no man be curious to search whether it be right. In dreams and visions of the night season, when slumbering cometh upon men that they fall asleep in their beds, he roundeth them in the ears, he informeth them, and showeth them plainly that it is he, which withdraweth man from evil, delivereth him from pride, keepeth his soul from destruction, and his life from the sword. He chasteneth him with sickness, and bringeth him to his bed. He layeth sore punishment upon his bones, so that his life may away with no bread, and his soul abhorreth to eat any dainty meat, insomuch that his body is clean consumed away, and his bones appear no more. His soul draweth on to destruction, and his life to death. Now if there be a messenger, one among 1,000, sent for to speak unto man, and to show him the right way, then the Lord is merciful unto him, and saith, He shall be delivered, that he fall not down to destruction, for am sufficiently reconciled. Then his flesh, which hath been in misery and trouble, shall be as it was in his youth. For if he submit himself unto God, he is gracious, and showeth him his countenance joyfully, and rewardeth man for his righteousness. Such a respect hath he unto men. Therefore let a man confess and say offended. But he hath chastened and reformed me. Did unrighteously, nevertheless he hath not recompensed me thereafter. Yea, he hath delivered my soul from destruction, and my life that it seeth the light. Lo, thus worketh God alway with man, that he keepeth his soul from perishing, and letteth him enjoy the light of the living. Mark well, V other roundeth, V other angel, O Job. And hear me, hold thee still until have spoken. But if thou hast anything to say, then answer me, and speak, for thy answer pleaseth me. If thou hast nothing, then hear me, and hold thy tongue, so shall teach thee wisdom. Elihu, proceeding forth in his communication, said, Hear my words, O ye wise men. Hearken unto me, ye that have understanding. For like as the mouth tasteth the meats, so the ear proveth and discerneth the words. As for the judgment, let us seek it out among ourselves, that we may know what is right. And why? Job hath said, Am righteous, but God doth me wrong. Must needs be a liar, though my cause be right, and violently am plagued, where is made no fault. Where is there such one as Job, that drinketh up scornfulness like water, which goeth in company of wicked doers, and walketh with ungodly men? For he saith, Though a man be good, yet is he naught before God. Therefore hearken unto me, ye that have understanding. Far be it from God that he should meddle with wickedness, and far be it from the Almighty that he should meddle with unrighteous dealing. But he rewardeth the works of man, and causeth every man to find according to his ways. For sure it is that God condemneth no man wronggously, and the judgment of the Almighty is not unrighteous. Who ruleth the earth in his stead? Or whom hath he set to govern the whole world? To whom hath he given his heart, for to draw his spirit and breath unto him? All flesh shall come together unto naught, and all men shall turn again unto earth. If thou now have understanding, hear what say, and hearken to the voice of my words. May he be made whole that loveth no right. If thou were a very innocent man, shouldest thou then be punished? For he is even the same that knoweth the rebellious kings, and saith to princes, Ungodly men are ye. He hath none respect unto the persons of the lordly, and regardeth not the rich more than the poor, for they be all the work of his hands. In the twinkling of an eye shall they be slain, and at midnight, when the people and the tyrants rage, then shall they perish and be taken away without hands. And why? His eyes look upon the ways of man, and he seeth all his goings. There is no darkness nor thick shadow that can hide the wicked doers from him. For no man shall be suffered to go into judgment with God. Many one, yea, innumerable doth. He punish and setteth other in their stead. For he knoweth their evil and dark works, therefore shall they be destroyed. They that were in the stead of seers dealt like ungodly men. Therefore turned they back traitorously and unfaithfully from him, and would not receive his ways. Insomuch that they have caused the voice of the poor to come unto him, and now he heareth the complaint of such as are in necessity. If he deliver and grant pardon, who will judge or condemn? But if he hide away his countenance, who will turn it about again, whether it be to the people or to any man? From the wickedness and sin of the people he maketh an hypocrite to reign over them. For so much as have begun to talk of God will not hinder thee. If have gone amiss, inform me. If have done wrong, will leave off. Wilt thou not give a reasonable answer? Art thou afraid of anything, seeing thou beganest first to speak, and not? For else the men of understanding and wisdom that have heard me might say, What canst thou speak? As for Job, he hath neither spoken to the purpose nor wisely. O Father, let Job be well tried, because he hath turned himself to the wicked. Yea, above his sins he hath blasphemed, which offence he hath done even before us, in that he striveth against God with his words. Elihu spake moreover and said, Thinkest thou it right that thou saidst, Am righteous before God? Seeing thou sayest so, how doest thou know it? What thing hast thou more excel lent than that am a sinner? Therefore will give answer unto thee and thy friends. Look unto the heaven and behold it. Consider the clouds, how they are higher than thou. If thou sinnest, what doest thou unto him? If thine offences be many, how gettest thou his favour? If thou be righteous, what givest thou him? Or what receiveth he of thy hands? Of such an ungodly person as thou, and of the Son of Man that is righteous as thou pretendest to be, there is a great cry and complaint made by them that are oppressed with violence. Yea, every man complaineth upon the cruel arm of tyrants. For such one never saith, Where is God that made me, and that shineth upon us, that we might praise him in the night? Which giveth us more understanding than he doth the beasts of the earth, and teacheth us more than the fowls of heaven. If any such come be other, than that am a sinner. Plain no man giveth answer, and that because of the wickedness of proud tyrants. But if a man call upon God, doth not he hear him? Doth not the Almighty accept his cry? When thou speakest then, should not he pardon thee, if thou open thyself before him and put thy trust in him? Then useth he no violence in his wrath, neither hath he pleasure in curious and deep inquisitions. Therefore hath Job opened his mouth but in vain, and foolishly hath he made so many words. Elihu proceeded forth in his talking, and said, Hold thee still a little, and shall show thee what have yet to speak on God's behalf. Will open unto thee yet more of mine understanding, and prove my Maker righteousness. True are my words, and no lie, and the knowledge wherewith all argue against thee is perfect. Behold, God casteth not away the mighty, for he himself is mighty in power and wisdom. As for the ungodly, he preserveth them not, but helpeth the poor to their right. He turneth not his eyes away from the righteous, he setteth up kings in their throne, and confirmeth them, so that they always sit therein. But if they be laid in prison and chains, or bound with the bonds of poverty, then showeth he them their works and deeds, and the sins wherewith they have used cruel violence. He with punishing and nurturing of them roundeth them in the ears, warneth them to leave off from their wickedness and to amend. If they now will take heed and be obedient, they shall wear out their days in prosperity, and their years in pleasure and joy. But if they will not obey, they shall go thorough the sword, and perish or ever they be aware. As for such as be feigned, dissemblers and hypocrites, they heap up wrath for themselves, for they call not upon him, though they be his prisoners. Thus their soul perisheth in foolishness, and their life with the condemned. The poor delivereth he out of his straitness, and comforteth such as be in necessity and trouble. Even so shall he keep thee, if thou wilt be content, from the bottomless pit that is beneath. And if thou wilt hold the quiet, he shall fill thy table with plenteousness. Nevertheless thou hast condemned the judgment of the ungodly. Yea, even such a judgment and sentence shalt thou suffer. For then shall not thy cause be stilled with cruelty, nor pacified with many gifts. Hath God ordained then that the glorious vive other rouneth, v other a war, v other ordained, life of thee and all such mighty men should not be put down? Prolong not thou the time till there come a night for thee to set other people in thy stead. But beware that thou turn not aside to wickedness and sin, which hitherto thou hast chosen more than meekness. Behold, God is of a mighty high power. Where is there such a guide and lawgiver as he? Who will reprove him of his way? Who will say unto him, Thou hast done wrong? O consider how great and excellent his works be, whom all men love and praise. Ye wonder at him, and yet they see him but afar off. Behold, so great is God that he passeth our knowledge, neither are we able to come to the experience of his years. He turneth the water to small drops. He driveth his clouds together for to rain, so that they pour down and drop upon men. He can spread out the clouds, a covering of his tabernacle, and cause his light to shine upon them, and to cover the bottom of the sea. By these things governeth he his people, and giveth them abundance of meat. In the turning of a hand he hideth the light, and at his commandment it cometh again. The rising up thereof showeth he to his friends and to the cattle. At this my heart is astonished and moved out of his place. Hear then the sound of his voice, and the noise that goeth out of his mouth. He governeth everything under the heaven, and his light reacheth unto the end of the world. A roaring voice followeth him, for his glorious majesty giveth such a thunderclap that, though a man hear it, yet may he not perceive it afterwards. It giveth an horrible sound when God sendeth out his voice. Great things doth he which we cannot comprehend. When he commandeth the snow, it falleth upon the earth. As soon as he giveth the rain a charge, immediately the showers have their strength and fall down. He sendeth fear upon Eve, every man, that they might know their own works. The beasts creep into their dens and take their rest. Out of the south cometh the tempest, and cold out of the north. At the breath of God the frost cometh, and the waters are shed abroad. The clouds do their labour in getting moistness. The clouds pour down the rain. He distributeth also on every side, according as it pleaseth him to deal out his works, that they may do whatsoever he commandeth them thorough the whole world, whether it be to punish any land, or to do good unto them that seek him. Hearken unto this, O Job, stand still, and consider the wondrous works of God. Art thou of counsel with God when he doth these things? When he causeth the light to come forth of his clouds? Art thou of his counsel when he spreadeth out the clouds? Hast thou the perfect knowledge of his wonders? And how thy clothes are warm when the land is still thorough, the south wind? Hast thou helped him to spread out the heaven, which is to look upon as it were cast of clear metal? Teach us what we shall say unto him, for we are unmeet because of darkness. Shall it be told him what say? Should a man speak, or should he keep it back? For every man seeth not the light that he keepeth clear in the clouds, which he cleanseth when he maketh the wind to blow. Gold is brought out of the north, but the praise and honour of God's fear cometh from God himself. It is not we that can find out the Almighty, for in power, equity, and righteousness he is higher than can be expressed. Seeing then that every body feareth him, why should not all wise men also stand in fear of him? Then spake the Lord unto Job out of the storm, and said, What is he that hideth his mind with foolish words? Gird up thy loins like a man, for will question thee, see thou give me a direct answer. Where wast thou when laid the foundations of the earth? Tell plainly if thou hast understanding. Who hath measured it, knowest thou? Or who hath spread the line upon it? Whereupon stand the pillars of it? Or who laid the cornerstone? Where wast thou when the morning stars praised me together, and all the children of God rejoiced triumphantly? Who shut the sea with doors when it brake forth as a child out of his mother's womb? When made the clouds to be a covering for it, and swaddled it with the dark? When gave it my commandment, making doors and bars for it, saying, Hitherto shalt thou come, but no further, and here shalt thou lay down thy proud and high waves. Hast thou given the morning his charge, as soon as thou wast born, and showed the day spring his place, that it might take hold of the corners of the earth, and that the ungodly might be shaken out? Their tokens and weapons hast thou turned like clay, and set them up again as the changing of a garment. Yea, thou hast spoiled. Other, stowed, other, stowed, other, angels, the ungodly of their light, and broken the arm of the proud. Camest thou ever into the ground of the sea, or hast thou walked in the low corners of the deep? Have the gates of death been open unto thee, or hast thou seen the door of everlasting treasure? Hast thou also perceived how broad the earth is? Now if thou hast knowledge of all, then show me where light dwelleth, and where darkness is, that thou mayest bring us unto their quarters, if thou canst tell the way to their houses. Knowest thou, when thou wast born, how old thou shouldest be? Wentest thou ever into the treasures of the snow? Or hast thou seen the secret places of the hail, which have prepared against the time of trouble, against the time of battle and war? By what way is the light parted, and the heat dealt out upon the earth? Who divideth the abundance of waters into rivers, or who maketh a way for the stormy weather, that it watereth and moistureth the dry and barren ground? to make the grass grow in places where no body dwelleth, and in the wilderness where no man remaineth? Who is the father of rain? Or who hath begotten the drops of dew? Out of whose womb came the ice? Who hath gendered the coldness of the air, that the waters are as hard as stones and lie congealed above the deep? Hast thou brought the 7 stars together? Or art thou able to break the circle of heaven? Canst thou bring forth the morning star or the evening star at convenient time, and convey them home again? Knewest thou the course of heaven, that thou mayest set up the ordinance thereof upon the earth? Moreover, canst thou lift up thy voice to the clouds, that they may pour down a great rain upon thee? Canst thou thunder also, that they may go their way and be obedient unto thee, saying, Lo, here are we. Who giveth sure wisdom or steadfast understanding? Who numbereth the clouds in wisdom? Who stilleth the vehement waters of heaven? Who turneth the clots to dust, and then to be clots again? Huntest thou the prey from the lion, or feedest thou his whelps living in their dens and lurking in their couches? Who provideth meat for the raven, when his young ones cry unto God, and fly about for want of meat? Knowest thou the time when the wild goats bring forth their young among the stony rocks? Or layest thou wait when the hinds used to fawn? Reckonest thou the months after they engender, that thou knowest the time of their bearing? Or when they lie down, when they cast their young ones, and when they are delivered of their travail and pain? How their young ones grow up, and wax great thorough good feeding? Who letteth the wild ass go free, or who louseth the bonds of the mule? Unto whom have given the wilderness to be their house, and the untilled land to be their dwelling place, that they may give no force for the multitude of people in the cities, neither regard the crying of the driver, but seek their pasture about the mountains, and follow the green grass? Will the unicorn be so tame as to do the service, or to abide still by thy crib? Canst thou bind the yoke about him in thy furrows, to make him plough after thee in the valleys? Mayest thou trust him, because he is strong, or commit thy labour unto him? Mayest thou believe him, that he will bring home the corn, or to carry anything unto the barn? The ostrich, whose feathers are fairer than the wings of the sparrowhawk, when he hath laid his eggs upon the ground, he breedeth them in the dust, and forgetteth them, so that they might be trodden upon with feet, or broken with some wild beast. So hard is he to his young ones, as though they were not his, and laboureth in vain without any fear. And that because God hath taken wisdom from him, and hath not given him understanding. When his time is, he flieth up on high, and careth neither for horse nor man. Hast thou given the horse his strength, or learned him to bow down his neck with fear, that he letteth himself be driven forth like a grasshopper, whereas the stout neighing that he maketh is fearful? He breaketh the ground with the hoofs of his feet cheerfully in his strength, and runneth to meet the harnessmen. He layeth aside all fear, his stomach is not abated, neither starteth he aback for any sword. Though the quivers rattle upon him, though the spear and shield glister, yet rusheth he in fearlessly, and beateth upon the ground. He feareth not the noise of the trumpets, but as soon as he heareth the shawmees blow, tush, saith he, for he smelleth the battle afar off, the noise, the captains, and the shouting. Cometh it thorough thy wisdom, that the goshawk flieth toward? Other to v other, to v other, to v other, upon v other, v other, and high v other harrowest. The south. Doth the eagle mount up, and make his nest on high at thy commandment? He abideth in the stony rocks, and upon the high tops of hard mountains, where no man can come. From thence may he behold his prey, and look far about with his eyes. His young ones are fed with blood, and where any dead body lieth, there is he immediately. Moreover, God spake unto Job, and said, Can he that striveth with the Almighty be at rest? Should not he which disputeth with God give him an answer? Job answered the Lord, saying, Behold, am too vile a person to answer thee, therefore will lay my hand upon my mouth. Once or twice have spoken, but will say no more. Then spake the Lord unto Job out of the storm, and said, Gird up thy loins like a man, and tell me the things that will ask thee. Wilt thou disannul my judgment? Or wilt thou condemn me, that thou thyself mayest be made righteous? Is thine arm then like the arm of God? Maketh thy voice such a sound as his doth? Then arm thyself with thine own power up, deck thee in thy jolly array, pour out thy indignation of thy wrath. See that thou cast down all the proud, look well that thou makest all such as be stubborn to obey. Tread all the ungodly under thy feet, cast them down into the mire, and cover their faces with darkness. Then will confess also that thy own right hand hath saved thee. Behold Behemoth, who made with thee, which eateth hay as an ox. Lo, how strong he is in his loins, and what power he hath in the navel of his body. He spreadeth out his tail like a cedar tree, all his veins are stiff. His shins are like pipes of brass, his rig bones are like staves of iron. First, when God made him, he ordained the wilderness for him, that the mountains should give him grass, where all the beasts of the field take their pastime. He lieth among the reeds in the mosses, the fens hide him with their shadow, and the willows of the brook cover him round about. Lo, without any labour might he drink out of the whole flood, and sup of Jordan without any trail. Who dare lay a hand on him openly and undertake to catch him? Or who dare put a hook thorough his nose and lay a snare for him? Darest thou draw out Leviathan with an angle, or bind his V? Other high V, other the cruel beast, Vive, other ordained, V, other travail, tongue with a snare. Canst thou put a ring in the nose of him, or bore his shaft thorough with a nawl? Will he make many fair words with thee, thinkest thou, or flatter thee? Will he make a covenant with thee? Or art thou able for to compel him to do thee continual service? Wilt thou take thy pastime with him as with a bird? Or give him unto thy maidens, that thy companions may hew him in pieces, to be parted among the merchantmen? Canst thou fill the net with his skin, or the fish panner with his head? Darest thou lay hand upon him? It is better for thee to consider what harm might happen thee there thorough, and not to touch him. For when thou thinkest to have hold upon him, he shall beguile thee. Every man also that seeth him shall go back. And why? There dare none be so bold as to raise him up. Who is able to stand before me? Or who hath given me anything aforehand, that am bound to reward him again? All things under heaven are mine. Fear him not, whether he threaten or speak fair. Who lifteth him up and stripeth him out of his clothes, or who taketh him by the bit of his bridle? Who openeth the doors of his face? For he hath horrible teeth round about, his body is covered with scales, as it were with shields, locked in, kept, and well compact together. One is so joined to another that no air can come in. Yea, one hangeth so upon another, and sticketh so together that they cannot be sundered. His neesing is like a glistering fire, and his eyes like the morning shine. Out of his mouth go torches and firebrands. Out of his nostrils there goeth smoke, like as out of an hot seething pot. His breath maketh the coals burn, the flame goeth out of his mouth. In his neck remaineth strength, and before his face sorrow is turned to gladness. The members of his body are joined so straight one to another, and cleave so fast together that he cannot be moved. His heart is as hard as stone, and as fast as the stithy that the hammerman smiteth upon. When he goeth, the mightiest of all are afraid, and the waves heave. If he draw out the sword, there may neither spear nor breastplate abide him. He sitteth as much by a straw as by iron, and as much by a rotten stock as by metal. He starteth not away for him that bendeth the bow, and as for slingstones, he careth as much for stubble as for them. He counteth the hammer no better than a straw, he v other nowler, v other locked, laugheth him to scorn that shaketh the spear. He treadeth the gold in the mire like the sharp potsherds. He maketh the deep to seethe and boil like a pot, and stirreth the sea together like an ointment. The way is light after him, the deep is his walking place. Upon earth is there no power like unto his, for he is so made that he feareth not. If a man will consider all high things, this same is a king over all the children of pride. Then Job answered the Lord and said, Know that thou hast power over all things, and that there is no thought hid unto thee. For who can keep his own counsel so secret? But it shall be known. Therefore have spoken unwisely, seeing these things are so high and past mine understanding. O hearken thou unto me also, and let me speak. Answer me unto the thing that will ask thee. Have given diligent ear unto thee, and now see thee with mine eyes. Wherefore give mine own self the blame, and take repentance in the dust and ashes. Now when the Lord had spoken these words unto Job, he said unto Eliphaz the Themanite, Am displeased with thee and thy 2 friends, for ye have not spoken the thing that is right before me, like as my servant Job hath done. Therefore take 7 oxen and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, offer up also for yourselves a burnt offering, and let my servant Job pray for you. Him will accept, and not deal with you after your foolishness, in that ye have not spoken the thing which is right, like as my servant Job hath done. So Eliphaz the Themanite, Baldad the Suhite, and Sophar the Naamathite went their way, and did according as the Lord commanded them. The Lord also accepted the person of Job, and the Lord turned him unto Job, when he prayed for his friends. Yea, the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had afore. And then came there unto him all his brethren, all his sisters, with all them that had been of his acquaintance afore, and ate bread with him in his house, wondering at him and comforting him over all the trouble that the Lord had brought upon him. Every man gave him a sheep and a jewel of gold. And the Lord made Job richer than he was before, for he had 14,000 sheep and 6,000 camels, and 1,000 yoke of oxen and 1,000 asses. He had children also, 7 sons and 3 daughters, the first called Day, the second the other counsel, the other he. Poverty, the third all plenteousness. In all the land were none found so fair as the daughters of Job, and their father gave them inheritance among their brethren. After this lived Job 40 years, so that he saw his children, his children's children, to the 4th generation, and so he died, being old and of a perfect age.